Today is a day when I think one can be quite frank. The United Kingdom is poorer, less productive, more divided than at any point in its modern history, and the Office for Budget Responsibility now confirms what most of us have for a long time suspected: Brexit is the central reason. Productivity has fallen by an estimated 4% compared with remaining in the European Union, and that figure sounds abstract, but it translates into roughly £40 billion a year lost to the Treasury, enough to fund the NHS, rebuild schools or cut taxes. But is Brexit itself to blame, or is the real culprit the circus of mediocrities who mishandled it? For I would argue both, that Brexit was an act of national folly, but its execution was a tragedy of character, small minds, inflated egos, and a politics consumed by performance rather than competence. The promise was simple: sovereignty and prosperity. The reality has been friction, inflation, and stagnation. Trade barriers that didn't exist now strangle small businesses. Lorry drivers faced endless red tape. Food prices have risen sharply, foreign investment has fled. The Cambridge Econometrics study shows that London alone has lost £30 billion in output and 300,000 jobs. Across the UK, nearly 2 million jobs have vanished compared with a Remain scenario. That is not Project Fear, that is lived experience. After 10 years. I said the other day we've had a decade since Brexit. We haven't. Not quite a decade, and we can still feel it. We feel it's like as you get older, you suddenly think the day has been exhausting, and we've only got to 12 o'clock. Yet even this disaster might have been mitigated had we not entrusted the project to a series of political pygmies. Theresa May negotiated in circles, paralysed by the hardliners in her own party and thinking that she was still in charge of the Home Office, which had bowed to her fiat that it should surrender to laziness and call it efficiency. Boris Johnson treated the nation's future as a piece of theatre. "Of a ready deal! Let's stain the sofa!" That was, in truth, half-baked. Well, the sofa, I'm sure, got stained. Liz Truss detonated what little credibility remained with her fiscal lunacy and her praise of Kwasi Kwarteng's prodigious package. And now Rachel Reeves, while intellectually serious, flounders amid the wreckage, blaming Brexit for what she cannot yet repair. Well, Rachel Reeves, she might be intellectually serious, but she's intellectually modest as well. Two Prime Ministers, Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, deserve a measure of sympathy. Both are decent, dutiful men, surrounded by mediocrities and saboteurs. Both are trying to steady a ship already holed below the waterline. Each inherited an economy defined by decisions they didn't make. Sunak by the pandemic and Boris Johnson's chaos. Starmer by the post-Brexit hangover and Truss's scorched earth economics. Both may end their premierships as reluctant stewards of national decline. One of them already did end his premiership as a reluctant steward. And you saw the quality of Rishi Sunak in that speech that he gave as leader of the opposition. A brilliant piece of oratory, and something that we hear so rarely in the House of Commons these days. Now the OBR, the Bank of England, even Andrew Bailey have joined the chorus. Brexit has damaged the economy for the foreseeable future. Productivity, investment and trade have all suffered, and yet, politically, we are trapped. Starmer will not rejoin the single market, Reeves will not reopen the question, and the Conservatives dare not admit the central myth has failed. Even Nigel Farage now avoids the word Brexit, knowing that voters, including his own, regard it as a failure. So, what is the solution? Brexit is not the sole cause of Britain's malaise, and we have to face up to that reality beside anything else. So for Rachel Reeves to predicate her budget on the failure of Brexit or on Mr. Farage is to build it again on sand. Our productivity crisis began after the 2008 financial crash. Our energy policy has been incoherent for decades, but Brexit magnified every weakness. It isolated us when we most needed allies, inflated prices when we most needed stability, drained investment when we needed growth. Which is worse then, Brexit or the assembly of fools who implemented it? The honest answer is that one birthed the other. Brexit was never just a policy choice, it was a moral test of seriousness, and we failed it. The demagogues, Farage, promised liberation but delivered paperwork. The opportunists shouted, "Take back control," and promptly lost control of everything they touched. So where are we now? Inflation back at 4%, the slowest growth in the G7, taxes at their highest in 70 years. Reeves can blame Brexit, but she's right to a point. Her challenge is not to apportion blame. It's to govern, though. If Brexit broke the economy, the absence of courage now threatens to bury it. For what Britain requires is not another speech about long-term damage and blame, but a long-term plan for re-entry, even partial, into the European economic orbit which sustains us. The public knows this. Even Conservative voters now admit Brexit has failed. The question is whether anyone in Westminster has the courage to say what everyone knows, that national sovereignty without national prosperity is an illusion. We didn't lose our empire to Brussels. We lost our confidence to a generation of politicians who mistook slogans for strategy. Brexit may have wounded Britain, but it was the assembly of fools who left it bleeding. Now, we require some serious triage, some plaster work, and some tightening of the belt to get up and get on and make the best of the situation that we've got now. Life is not about looking back with regret and saying, what if? Life is about recognizing the reality of now and getting on with it, fixing the roof.